Hello, back again for more Type Over 40 here on the Spacebook channel with me, Dan Hadley, and her, Rosie, my house-trained, tame Dalek, here to keep an eye on my toxic masculinity. We're a before show, an after show, and an in-between show to the Type 40 podcast that I produce and host over on the Fandom Podcast Network, as I keep reminding people, myself, Simon, Sarah, Kyle, anybody who we can rope into it. Rosie, sometimes she comes on, but she never says a great deal. Just a quick video to let you know that we've just dropped in the latest edition of that. That's episode number 51. And that ties up very nicely the rest of series 12, left over from, say, 6 or 7 weeks ago with the Timeless Children, that big finale. You've been wondering what our thoughts were on it for weeks, haven't you? Haven't you? Well, we had to get it out of our system, whether you wanted to know or not. So that's all sat there waiting for you at the moment on the Fandom Podcast Network's master feed, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, all those are the places you can find the Fandom Podcast Network's fantastic podcasts. Type 40, all the links will be down there. But there's a very specific reason why I want to get in front of the camera this time, because we've had some news about Series 13 already. They're spoiling us, I tell you, they're spoiling us. Yeah, because obviously we're in the midst of a very serious global health crisis at the moment. I won't mention it by name, but we all know what I'm talking about. And of course, the TV and film industry all over the world has ground to a halt, just the same as every other kind of industry has, haven't they? And fans have been speculating about Doctor Who, whether this will have an effect on Series 13 of Doctor Who, when we'll get it, how much we'll get of it, and all those things. So, it seemed a very long way off anyway, didn't it? We were looking at 18 months. I'd say that's a conservative estimate. 18 months till Series 13 of Doctor Who. Could be even longer. But we've just had word today from the Daily Telegraph or the Sunday Telegraph, one of those two papers, and a little bit of a quote here, which I've got to share with you now. So, yeah, this is Charlotte Moore, who's at the BBC, and she says the BBC has filmed the seasonal special of Doctor Who, which we already knew about, and pre-production on the next series is continuing as planned. At least we can get writing that. So, yeah, we talked about this on the show, on the podcast and the videos, I think, how much of it could conceivably be written at this point. I suspected as much, that the scripts were either in the process of being written, or certainly they decided on who they were going to use. And there's been some debate already about how many episodes could make up Series 13, because there's whispers coming that it could be a reduced episode count of as little as 5. And so slots are going to be quite valuable. And Chris Chibnall, obviously, he usually writes just under half of the episodes himself, doesn't he? So, yeah, I kind of thought that most of them would probably be written by Chris Chibnall. But, yeah, you wonder. Obviously, he spent the last 2 seasons, hasn't he, bringing in all these new writers to offer us these new stories and to tantalise us. And, I'm trying to be upbeat, aren't I? But, yeah, we've had all these new writers on board. Will he continue to bring new writers through for Series 13? That's what we're wondering. Will lessons have been learned? Because, let's be honest, Series 12, it's not just us, is it, Rosie? It hasn't gone down very well. The ratings were a disaster. Critically, it was a disaster. So where are they going to go? Who are they going to look to? What's next? What big names next? Maybe they'll get Neil Gaiman back. What do you think of that? Maybe they'll get Richard Curtis back. Tempt somebody. Tempt Stephen Moffat even. He seems quite keen. He's scratching an itch at the moment, isn't he, over on Twitter? So, yeah, I was wondering who it was going to be. And then we saw this over on the An Agent's books. We have Ed Hime's name pops up again. Now, he did this. He put this up on his Twitter a few days ago, that he was working on some more sci-fi and whatever else. And people have done a bit of detective work and gone over to his agent, who represents him, his writer's agent. And sure enough, here's his new updated entry. Now, in the past, Ed Hime hasn't been great at keeping secrets, but here he is. We scroll down and we look and we think, could they possibly have looked at Ed Hime again? Ed Hime for a 3rd time running? And sure enough, there at the bottom, we see it in bold, clearly, Series 13. It looks like Ed Hime has been commissioned for a 3rd episode of Doctor Who, Rosie. And I don't know about you, I can't quite I can't quite believe it. How can people, anybody in any field, continue to fail over and over again and still get commissioned to go back to the same job, to the same, potentially the same brief, a science fiction fantasy series, 50 minutes. You saw it there, a standard episode of Doctor Who. It looks like Chris Chibnall has tapped Ed Heim again for another episode of Doctor Who. I cannot believe what I'm reading. Twice, both instances, Ed Heim's episodes have, well, these are the episodes that finally broke me. Each of them got me laughing at this series, which I've loved my entire life, and a series which, even when it hasn't always been taking itself particularly seriously, and when the quality has sort of gone up and down a little, when I was a kid, I never once laughed at Doctor Who. But Ed Heim has done it. He's cracked me twice with what I believe have been the two worst episodes in Doctor Who history. Now, this isn't just me, in all seriousness. These episodes haven't gone down well at all. The second one, in series 12, he wrote episode 3, was universally panned. But just in case you can't remember which ones they were, or you've blocked it out, I wouldn't, to be honest, I wouldn't blame you. It's the first one was It Takes You Away from series 11, the one with the frog. As if it that's what it would be if it was a Friends episode, isn't it? So yeah, that's the one with the frog. Absolutely ludicrous, totally pretentious. Tried to be profound and have something big to say. Just ended up a massive insult to the intelligence, and incredibly sexist, and just badly written, utter nonsense, cheap-looking tat. Then, of course, he returned for series 12, didn't he? Now, when you read the blurb, if you read the blurb like I did to his second episode, Orphan 55, you thought, well, anybody can have a bad day, can't they? Anybody can be off their game, or maybe something along the creative process, the message and the real worth of It Takes You Away got wasted somehow. So yeah, I was quite happy to give Ed Heim a second try. What did we get? We got this, didn't we? We got probably the single worst standard episode of Doctor Who in its entire history. Absolutely appalling right across the board. Terrible storytelling, horrendous production values, which I dare say aren't down to you, Ed. And more sites like this, which the entire episode, again, it was badly written, badly put together. And that was the one that finished with the Doctor's sermon, wasn't it? Direct to camera, telling us how we've got to watch the environment, watch all around us, and we're all really nasty people and all the rest of it. So yeah, leaves a bit of a bad taste in the mouth. And it's also the episode that even the newspapers reviewed very, very damningly, and that I'd say probably put the biggest rocket up Doctor Who in the last 15 years. I think it kind of broke it really, and got people asking, what has become of this once great show. So yeah, Doctor Who's in a bad situation at the moment. I don't think it can afford to lose any more matches, even week to week. Say they haven't got that reduced episode count that we're speculating about, because that's what it is, just speculation. Say it is 10. 10 is not a great number either. And the people who are waiting for it are going to be waiting a year and a half minimum. And we're going to have at least one more by this writer. Obviously, I don't know Ed Heim. He's probably a great guy. I'm criticising the art and not the person. His work, in my opinion, is absolutely horrendous. It's diabolical. And any showrunner that would commission this man for a third episode of spending more license fee payers' money for a third episode, quite frankly, this is yet more conclusive proof that Chris Chibnall doesn't know what he's doing. He's lost any possible instinct of what the audience is responding to, what we want to see, and the fact that the show is in creative trouble. It's got a massive crisis in its popularity, and they can't afford to take chances and to blow another episode slot on a writer like this who's not suited to the show. He can't deliver the goods, and the time for indulging writers of this low caliber is done. It's gone, over and done with. So yeah, I'm not great. I'm not really pleased to see Ed Hine back. In fact, I'm really, really shocked. Maybe you are too. Let me know what you think in the comments about this latest creative cock up. Because okay, I can't see the future. He may be about to deliver us the next Caves of Androzani. But Rosie, I think that's a pretty safe bet. I think I could. Yeah, it's not going to happen realistically, is it? And this is going to, on past evidence, Ed Hine, he's the one. He's the only writer of the last crop who let it slip that he was involved in Series 12 early in the game. Everybody else kept tight-lipped. So we probably aren't going to know the identities of anybody else for a very long time, several months, maybe a year plus. But yeah, so if this is all we're going to have to sort of tantalize us in the time between now and then, you've got to keep on laughing, haven't you? Yeah, keep on laughing. Like, subscribe, and share this video. If you'd like to see some more, there's more type over 40 coming later in the week, maybe something else too. And yeah, keep watching. And if only to just I'm at the point now where I'm going to have to start cutting my own hair fairly soon. That should be really entertaining. So you've got to come back just to see that, haven't you? See how I get on. I could always get Rose to do it. Does either of those cut? No, they don't. Have to wait and see, won't we? Bye-bye. See you soon.